Hey folks, we're having a blast here at Advancing Preconstruction in Denver. I have just grabbed my good friend Justin Aubuchon. Thanks for coming on. How you find the conference?
Very good so far. It's early on, and I've got a lot of great expectations to get through, but I think it's going to go very nicely.
Justin, I met him in the corridor there, and he mentioned the AI, the dreaded word that we're hearing all over construction. It's interesting, the AI, I mean, everyone's trying to kind of incorporate it in some way. It's still fairly
Sure.
native in construction. How are you finding it? I mean, Director of Estimating at Bond Construction, how are you using it, and how do you see it influencing more so pre-construction and estimating?
Well, I'm really looking forward to some of its growth. Right now, I think it's a technology with a lot of potential that a lot of folks are looking to take advantage of, and almost, it's got so many ways that it can be used. They're almost begging people to help them, use this technology, help me understand how I can make this work for you better. So that's one of the things I'm really interested in getting out of the conversations here at the conference. Right now, some of the tools that I've had the opportunity to play with over the last several months aren't quite as helpful as maybe they were intended to be, or as I had hoped them to be, but they are pretty easy to use, pretty easy to get into, and I'm really looking forward to their growth over the short term, let alone the medium term.
Yeah, and am I doing construction an injustice here by saying that AI will automatically flow to the likes of financial services, IT, social media? They will get the best use of it right now. Will it take a while before construction can kind of get on board with it?
That is the traditional reputation of construction, is that it's slower to adopt some of this technology. There are certainly some obstacles within construction itself that makes that more of a challenge. But yes, I would agree. I think some of those other applications are likely to find, some of those other departments are likely to find applications that they can start to use AI in more readily. Contract evaluation is one where we're already deeply involved with a product that allows us to sort through what can be very contentious, dense language, and it allows those folks to not only do a word search, but also almost a theme search. They can search for concepts within the contract language, since those can often be disguised with other wording. So, but there's just so much potential, even to take something like that and move it into the concept of, great, now let me search my specifications for concepts, not just necessarily words. Let me search all of the plans for notes that can so easily be at significant cost, but it's just one sentence somewhere that talks about 100% repointing off to the corner someplace.
Yeah, hiding, whether it's intentionally hiding it or not, we'll not we'll not point any fingers. But yeah, you've got the likes of document crunch. You've got Toggle AI. I mean, it's here and they're using it within pre-construction and estimating. Where else do you think is going to be disrupted with AI?
Disrupted with AI. I think that the process of moving something from sort of that conceptual stage to space fitting, even. I've seen some, which I hadn't seen maybe some of the representation at this conference that maybe it could have, using AI for almost master planning. What's the best use of this space for the building layouts? What's even the best use of this floor for maximizing the number of exam rooms I've got in here, while also maintaining, nurses' visibility to the spaces that they need. Using that again as a tool. It's not a replacement. It's something there to help the design team, to help the owners, to help the pre-construction team find solutions faster, to not forget that one little note that was somewhere. Oh, you know what? I put a whole bunch of VE in here, but let me use a generative AI to create suggestions. You know what? I forgot the terrazzo. Never forget the terrazzo in my AI, in my VM list. Sorry, terrazzo guys. Beautiful product, but has so much potential to reach out into all those different aspects.
Yeah, and I think it will through time, it will come into us and see more. But one of the things that we talked about as well is presenting information.
Yes.
It seems like a general contractor being able to present information, even as to the subcontractor, architect, owner, it seems something that we're not great at. But at Bond and yourself, you've got this idea that once we get this right, it'll be beneficial for everyone.
Well, to transition from AI can help generate an enormous amount of information as well. But even before there was AI to generate the information, just in our own pre-construction process, the amount of information we generate, the amount of decisions that need to get made can be overwhelming. So yeah, we look to produce that information we're creating in pre-construction in layers so that someone that needs to absorb the information quickly, needs to make a decision quickly, but may not have a robust construction background, has hopefully that opportunity to do that. Create an 11 by 17 page with all of the pertinent data on it, or the digital equivalent of an 11 by 17 page. With, again, in a digital platform, something that would be links to take you deeper in. If you're interested in understanding that topic more, click on it and move in further, or flip the page and see the next level of detail down, and the next level of detail down, and the next level. But certainly it was something hard for me to appreciate early on in my career, coming from an engineering background, having produced and put in all this work to create all this data that someone wouldn't want to appreciate all of that stuff behind it. But as I've gotten older, I more and more appreciate the idea that people have less and less time. They want to be as efficient as possible for themselves, that this construction project to a CFO, to a campus president, may not be the biggest thing on their plate as much as we think it ought to be. And so the ability to take that, absorb it quickly and move on is helpful for them. To some extent, the design teams and the OPMs and their own facility department in the past have had to have that role to take the information flowing up from construction folks and translate it for others. But if we can make them look good, hopefully that makes us look good. So by creating those layers of information, hopefully we make their job easier and the decision-making jobs a little bit faster and easier to absorb that.
And that's probably what it is. You're just probably prompting discussion around the project itself. Do you find that it's worked well with Bond and doing that?
Prompting the right discussions. Okay. So creating that information so that the information can be absorbed without, not to say distracting details, but not that we don't want them to go into it.
Unnecessary details.
But sometimes, you know what? Don't get trapped in the minutia. You want to stay at the big picture level. You don't want to get distracted by the idea that, that 0.1% thing went to 0.2%. How did it double in value? You know what? We're just trying to move through this topic. Let's not get distracted by that one thing that looks like it's should be an issue. And certainly, and will be for people maybe a little further down the ladder who will tackle that and make sure it gets handled. But perhaps at that upper level, that's not a topic they need to feel like they need to have to be bogged down in.
But even for someone within pre-construction and estimators, and most of our audience is pre-construction managers or estimators, to be able to produce a document like that, to prompt discussion, and then be able to basically storytell the whole project, whether it be costs, will be schedules, escalation, whatever it may be.
Having that boiled down to the point where, and one of the things that's key to creating that document well is understanding what's important to those decision makers further up the food chain. So those early team building sort of discussions about conditions of success, all sorts of other topics, can help make that document as useful as possible. So in that brief view, there's some scheduling information, there's some cost information, cost trending information, next steps, what are the important milestones coming up, so that someone who may not be familiar with the project can pick up something of that nature and go, okay, now I've got a broad sense of what this project is all about and maybe what some of the challenges are.
And it's been received well on your side,
yes.
Clients?
Yeah. So that, it's a nice way to start the conversation, to your point, to start the conversation.
Justin, this has been good. I want to, you're in part of a workshop on AI? On
yes,
Friday?
On Friday.
Yeah. What will that be discussion, or is there a title for that?
looking under the hood at AI, sort of like how it's actually being used. There's a lot of talk, a lot of tech folks here about the promise. To some extent, that conversation will be a little bit more of like, well, okay, so how are people using it today?
Good. Well, that's down on my itinerary, so I will be blogging from that chat. So if you're interested, check it out, get on my profile. But if there's anybody, Justin, now that's listening to this going, you know what, Justin's had a couple of points there. He's really had a nerve and something that I'm working on. If they're looking for more information, they want to kind of pick up this conversation more, where's the best place to get you?
Work email is always great. I'm on LinkedIn, but it would be Aubuchon at bond-building.com.
Brilliant.
Good luck spelling that one.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It'll be in the show notes. I'll make sure I get that right. I'll put your LinkedIn profile on there as well. So if anybody's any questions, just reach out to Justin and we'll get it on from there. Thanks, Justin.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.